Hello and welcome to the Money and People podcast, the show that connects the dots between financial success and the power of human capital. Today, we are joined by Mrs. Anita Bhebhe-Moyo, who is the Vice President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia. Welcome to the show, Anita.
Thank you for having me, Delia.
We're so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and the topic today is breaking new ground, a woman's journey to pharmaceutical leadership. I am so excited for this topic today because we are going to cover your journey, but also a lot of aspects of growing the pharmaceutical society in Zambia, as well as mentorship for the young pharmacists that are in the industry. So to begin, I want us to just discuss a little bit about you. Who is Anita Bhebhe-Moyo?
Okay, Anita Bhebhe-Moyo is a pharmacist and with a Master of Science in Epidemiology, currently the Vice President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, and what I like to call an infectious disease pharmacist. I work at the University Teaching Hospital. I'm sure you've heard of COVID, TB, influenza. So the department where I work, that's what we deal with. Aside from that, I'm also a member of various organizations like Women in Global Health Zambia, where I'm the membership advisor. And I also sit on some committees like the Zambia National Formulary Committee and the People Who Inject Drugs Task Force and the COVID-19 Task Force.
Wow, that's a powerhouse sitting right in our midst. And so that just makes me think about what inspired you in the first place to take up a career in pharmacy.
To be honest, I don't know at which point I actually got inspired because growing up, I hated medicine. Growing up in Ndola where we have a lot of malaria, having malaria was like a traditional ceremony where at least once or twice a year you'd have malaria, and we're exposed to chloroquine, which made me hate all drugs. I used to hate the smell of drugs. So working as a pharmacist or in a pharmacy was very far from what I had wanted to do. I'd wanted to do engineering because I loved physics. I loved the sciences when I was in high school. But when I got to the University of Zambia, I started to gravitate towards health-related courses. And it is at that point that I was inspired, I think, by a friend to join the career of pharmacy, and the rest is history.
Okay, and you're enjoying yourself.
Yes, I am.
You've gotten rid of the apathy for the smell of drugs.
If I'll be honest, I can't even smell the drugs when I'm in the pharmacy. So I guess I'm now used to it.
Okay. And now we talk about the leadership aspect. You, as the Vice President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, what inspired you to take up the leadership role? And did you have any other leadership roles before you took up this one? For example, when you were in uni, or any other setup that made you prepare for this role?
I will answer this question in many ways. First, I'll start with my father. Growing up, he had this way to deal with problems. So I was a very talkative child, and I always had an issue with something. I remember listening to Sounds Arcade, and I think that program used to come on Mondays on ZNBC, and I hated the fact that they never used to finish the song. Like the DJ or whoever would show up before the end of the song.
Yeah.
And for me, there are certain songs that I just wanted to know, how does this song end?
Yeah.
And of course, at that time, we didn't have Spotify or these other gadgets and stuff. So I told my dad, I said, Dad, why do they do this? Every time they play a song, it doesn't finish. And he said, write them a letter.
Yeah.
So this was me, probably 7-year-old girl. And my dad gave me the power to change something.
Yeah.
To take up a step and change something. Of course, not knowing whether they would have responded or favorably.
Yes.
Now that I've grown up, I understand why they used to do what they did. But just the fact that I was given a chance to do something about something. And I wrote that letter. I didn't get a response. I don't know if it even reached them.
Yeah.
So coming back to your question, what inspired me to get into leadership? The chance to change something.
Okay.
We all have something we don't like about our environment or whatever is going on, but instead of taking a seat and complaining, I like to be part of the solution, or at least to try. And that is leadership for me. Being able to get into a room and say, these are my suggestions. This is why I think this will work this way. And let's try it like this. The chance to say that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think for me, leadership is really about what do you hope to achieve if you're given the power to do so. Lastly, you had asked also, did I have any leadership position in the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia? I did. Before I became vice president, I was the media chairperson. And what I did with that was rebrand the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia. I had noticed we weren't paying attention to the fine details. And I did my best for 2 years. I did my best to just bring the PSZ, or Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, from where I felt it was to where I wanted it to be.
Okay.
Of course, with the help of others.
Okay. Okay. And I like that you bring out the part of with the help of others, because if you see something and you want to change it, sometimes it's easier to do or to bring that change when you involve others, work as a team and bring the change that you want to see. So coming now to your earlier days in pharmacy, in the industry, do you have any unexpected story that you would like to share from your early days?
I have two short stories.
Okay.
One is one of the tasks I had in the early days. I was working under what we call ART, or the HIV Center. And every time you're inputting a new patient into the system, you'd ask them a few questions. How old are you?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And I asked this man, I think he was approximately 65 to 70 years old. I
Yeah.
asked him, how old are you? And he looked at me, smiled, and said, I have no idea.
What?
And that was at a time when, age was such a big thing for me. Like, I was a young girl trying to put my footprint in the industry, and this person just didn't know how old they were, and they
Yeah.
didn't care.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that interaction was just how that some things are really, it's vanity.
Yeah.
There are people
Yeah.
out there who are working and they don't know how
They
old they
don't know
are, and
their
it's
age. Yeah.
not the biggest thing. Whereas for some of us, we're counting, oh, this year now I'm, in my 30s, and what does this mean? But there are people
Yeah.
that just don't care how old they are.
Yeah.
So that was story number one. Story number two was, again, a different older person, and he had come to collect drugs for his son. And his son was, I think, in his 40s. So I asked him, oh, is there something wrong with your son? Is he like bedridden or whatever? And he said, no, he's fine. I just came to collect drugs for him. And I said, whoa, I mean, why?
Yeah.
And he said, he's my little boy. He will always be my little boy. And again, that was really heartwarming. I think these are some of the experiences that make work much easier and more fulfilling when you meet people that really go above and beyond for their families, and you learn one or two things.
Okay, that's really interesting. And I think now the audience gets a picture of who you really are and your journey. And now I would like us to get it a little bit into your journey in the leadership of the Pharmaceutical Society. So, as a female leader, what challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
Well, so currently in my executive, I'm the only female.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it is challenging, although I will say that my exco members, my president, and the rest of the team have been very supportive. However, I think there are certain things that are peculiar to women that aren't to men.
Yeah.
And I think it's just being able to express yourself without feeling like no one is listening,
Yeah.
or no one will understand.
Yeah.
So that's one of my challenges. And I think there's also this pressure that if I fail, every woman will be judged.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like sometimes you feel like you've been given, it's a favor that is being done for you.
Yeah.
Like we've given you women what you wanted. Now let's see how you're going to handle
perform.
it.
Yeah.
Yet when a man fails, it is just him.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't a good leader. Oh, he didn't do so well.
Yeah.
But when a woman fails, the thought around that is, this is why we don't put women in leadership.
In positions of power. Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure to prove that, this is something you should do for women. Women need a seat at the table, and they deserve it.
Yeah.
We are smart, we are intelligent, we are good leaders.
Yeah.
If only you give us a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. And how do you feel your leadership style has developed over time? And what values guide your decision making?
My leadership style definitely has developed, and I think the emotional aspect is the biggest for me. I've realized how emotional intelligence is one of the biggest things you need to have, the most important. And not only for yourself, but for your followers, because they will come with various issues, but just being able to understand, process their emotions, process your own emotions.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll talk about is grit. Being faced with adversity, challenges, and telling yourself, I have to face this. I have to have the courage to do this. I don't have the luxury to feel pity for myself or to go and hide in a hole. I have to face it head on. So those are some of the things I have learned now.
Okay. And are there any particular values that you uphold as you are making decisions?
Number one is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of temptations out there. There's a lot of things will be thrown at you. And there are even people who will say, oh, she's not smart enough. She doesn't know that this is how we do things.
Yeah.
Integrity is very important because you want to go to bed and sleep.
Yes,
Rather than always looking,
thing.
over your shoulder and thinking, what if I'm caught? What if something happens?
Yeah.
So that is one of the biggest values, among other things. Of course, there's accountability, transparency, and just togetherness. Is very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And what role has mentorship played in your career? And is there any particular person or mentor that has guided you in your career?
I've had many, many mentors. One that stands out, there's a doctor at UTH. His name is Dr. Kondolani Mateo. There was a time when I felt really stuck in my career. And I wondered, because I'd done the time. I had gone back to do my master's. I had graduated. But I wasn't getting the reward that I thought was due to me. And I asked him to say, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to ensure that, I'm called to the table? Because there's always a table somewhere.
And you've prepared yourself to be at that table.
And you feel like you've done your time. I think I had done more than 5 years at UTH and everything. And he looked me in the eye and said, why will they call you?
Oh, wow.
What value do you bring?
Yeah.
My papers.
I've just explained that I have more papers, more
And
experience.
they say, but so many people have papers.
Yeah.
What is it that they will call you for that no one else can do? How are you positioning yourself to show your skills? What skills do you even have? Papers are one thing, but have you built your skill set?
Yeah.
Why will people sit on a table and say, you know what? I think for this part, we need Anita.
Yes.
And I had a very different perspective about my career from that point on, because then I always asked myself, what am I bringing to this table that I'm crying to be part of?
Yes.
It's not enough to just be invited to the table and you go in and say, oh, nothing from me.
Yes, you need to bring value.
What value are you bringing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I've learned a lot from that as well, because I think in this day and age, a lot of people have a master's degree. Now a lot of people are going to have a PhD, okay? And it won't be enough to just say, look, I am qualified now, I need that promotion, or I need to be invited to these tables like you have mentioned. You really need to do something more to distinguish yourself and prove that you are bringing value to the table. Yeah. So that's a really big thing that I would like to take away from this podcast session. And being in the pharmaceutical industry, it's a male-dominated industry. Like you have mentioned, you are one female in your exco, right? But how have you navigated these gender biases or barriers?
Well, first of all, one thing that I have refused to live by is that women don't support women.
Yeah.
I think that statement just it's there to disqualify women.
Yeah.
Really. There are some good women, there are some bad women. Just like there are some good men, there
And
are some
some
bad
bad
men. There are women who have opened doors for me. There are
Yes.
men who have opened doors for me. So I look at people as people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you must be open-minded enough.
Yeah.
You must accept your space, be a leader, be impactful in your space, be in your lane, do what you can do in your lane.
Yeah.
The other thing that we do wrong is trying so hard to cross over to the grass that is looking so green, yet you can't tend to your own grass where you are.
Yeah.
So I will actually dispel the fact that pharmacy is a male-dominated field. It is not anymore.
Oh, nice.
It was, but it is not anymore. And actually, health in general, there are a lot more women than men. The only challenge is at the leadership level.
Yes.
That's where it is male-dominated.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in a room, you can count how many women are there. Anytime there's a panel discussion, there are people sitting at a high table, chances are you will not see a woman. And I think there is where the problem is. Otherwise, the profession itself, the industry itself, not as male dominated as it used to be.
Okay. Okay, that's great. And so for those females in your space that are trying to take up women leadership roles, what advice do you have for them?
Put fear aside. There's never going to be a time when you're not afraid.
Yeah.
Even when you get there,
it will still be scary.
It is so scary. But put it aside. There's a quote. I will not use the exact words. It goes like, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something is more important than fear.
Yeah.
Fear is ever there. It is. These days I look at it and say, oh, hi. Hi again.
Yeah.
So put it aside and move, because everyone is afraid. You're not the only one who is afraid. You're not the only one who's second guessing yourself. But those who go far, they look at fear and say, fine, I acknowledge you, you're here, but move aside because I have something to do. So put fear aside and do it.
Okay, that's great advice. And I feel like you're speaking to me, not just for the ladies that are trying to get into leadership roles. And when you look at the current membership of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, is it representative of the population of pharmacists in Zambia?
Yes and no. Of course, there are people that pharmacy personnel, because the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia represents both pharmacists and pharmacy technologists. So there are pharmacy personnel that don't participate in our activities, they don't belong. to the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia based on like paying membership fee and the like. But there are quite a number of activities that we put up in the year where we encourage that participation. So out of, let's say, 100%, I would estimate it at less than 50% being active members. Although when you're looking for a job and on your CV you want to have the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia as an organization you are affiliated to.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people affiliating themselves to PSZ, but for various reasons they may not be as active as we would want them to be.
Okay. So just following up with that question is, as the society, what are you doing to just bridge that gap, to identify what challenges are there in being able to get those people to actively participate? And how do you intend on closing that gap once you identify what's holding people back?
Thank you for that very important question. So one of our challenges is distance and the numbers. Our secretariat is based in Lusaka, where we have the largest number of members. And Copperbelt province has the second largest number. So most of the activities that we conduct, I think there's a bit of bias towards the two provinces. So that just means that if you are, far away, let's say in Luapula, you may feel that you're not participating, you're not a part of, some of these activities. So what we've done is with PSZ, there are branches in each and every province, which encourages members to participate in their space. We also have a membership and practice committee that conducts surveys, membership surveys, to just understand how we can reach our members better and what challenges they are facing. And then we also launched our first strategic plan, 5-year strategic plan, just in December. And one of the strategic aims is to do with member benefits. Just, looking at what can we offer our members for them to feel that belonging to our society is worth it for them. Yeah.
Okay. So you've mentioned the strategic plan, but I would just like to find out, as the vice president, what key initiatives are you focusing on in order to advance the field of pharmacy and its professionals?
So the strategic plan is one of the biggest initiatives because that really encompasses everything, every activity that we want to do. And in that plan, we've looked at, local manufacturing, for example. How are we going to support the Zambian government to ensure that we move from where we are importing about 95% of pharmaceuticals and medicines, to where we can at least reduce that percentage, because now we are manufacturing. So we want to support local manufacturers. We want to advocate for, a healthy enough business environment for manufacturers. And we want also to advocate for regional collaborations in terms of local manufacturing, because manufacturing is not cheap. The more you collaborate with other countries, the better for you. So those are just some of the initiatives that we've embarked on as a Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, as the current executive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you view innovation and change in an industry as dynamic as pharmacy?
So the need for innovation and change was very clear during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think that's where we saw that our healthcare system was not as strong. And it got even weaker because we were highly dependent on, products and innovations that were not our own. So there's a lot of technology coming into the pharmacy space, and we're trying to see how this can be regulated because it has risks.
Yeah.
For example, if you have an online pharmacy and a prescription is sent by a patient from their phone, how do you verify that this is the owner of the prescription? How
Yeah.
do you, the patient, verify that you're actually speaking to a pharmacist and not somebody standing in as a pharmacist? All
Yeah.
those things. So we're looking into, of course, we're advocating for the transition to online technology, utilizing the technology that we have, utilizing artificial intelligence
Yeah.
to enhance, pharmaceutical services. But of course, with the knowledge that there are risks, and we need to have a risk mitigation plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good that you choose to embrace the innovation, but at the same time are always scanning and realizing what risks are presented because of the changes in the innovation. Okay. And what leadership strategies have you found most effective in inspiring your team as well as your colleagues and junior pharmacists?
One of the leadership strategies is being set. As a leader, you really don't have the luxury of being not having a vision.
Yeah.
You must have a goal,
Yeah.
and of course a proposed strategy for that goal.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you are willing to listen to your team and what they propose would be the best way to achieve this.
Yeah.
But the vision is very, very important. You must be set about your vision. You must be set about the goal that you want to achieve,
Yeah.
and being realistic with timelines.
Okay.
We promise a lot,
Over
we
promising.
politicians. Yeah, and people don't understand why you didn't achieve what you had set out to. But it's possibly that the timeline was just off. If you are
Yeah.
going to be realistic and say this is going to be achieved in 5 years' time, and you've only got 2 years,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to achieve it. But others are going to think, oh, you failed or you didn't think about it. But it's really just the feasibility. So
Yes.
there's a lot that goes into leadership and goal setting and achievements and inspiring your team. But really, for me, it's leadership is leadership.
Yeah.
There's I think I've been seeing this a lot where people say, I'm not going to be the bigger person in 2025.
Yeah.
I'm going to match your energy.
Yeah.
As a leader, you don't have the luxury of not being the bigger person.
Yeah,
You
you
don't
always
have
have
the
to be the
luxury
bigger
of matching
person.
people's energy because they will suck the energy out of you.
Yeah.
Some people are really just, they're just like that. They want to criticize, they want to say all sorts of things. They can't take a walk in your shoes.
Yes.
But you must be able to stand here and say, fine, for now, I am your leader. This is how I think we should go. These are my strategies. Let's hold hands together. Let's
Yeah.
do this together. Even when you know that you can achieve it on your own, carry
Yes.
people along.
Yeah.
That is true leadership,
Yeah.
because then they will be a part of the change
Yes.
that you are trying to make. It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's really not about you. And this is why earlier I had mentioned emotional intelligence. You're not here to shout at anyone because they shouted at you, scream at anyone because they screamed at you. It's
Yeah.
really just about understanding where this person is coming from. Why are they so frustrated? How
Yeah.
can I explain to them, to alleviate their frustration? Because they may be frustrated due to lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And then how can I help them to help me
Mhm.
get to where I want to go?
Yes. Okay. I think that's a very good strategy, and I hope most of our audience will be able to learn from that.
I hope so
And
too.
it sounds like you've had a very interesting journey. But what has been the most rewarding aspect of your journey so far?
I always say that I'm a productivity junkie.
Mm-hmm.
My best Saturday is a
Mm-hmm.
Saturday when I've been productive.
Yeah.
It's both a blessing and a curse because then I don't rest
Yes.
a lot. So I think just seeing the change that I had hoped for
Mm-hmm.
and being a part of that journey. So, it's really just, for example, the strategic plan. We didn't have one. We wanted
Yeah.
one. And being able to launch the document and knowing that I was a part of that. That has been very fulfilling for me. And also, I've been able to walk into spaces I otherwise wouldn't have walked into, and meeting people that I otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to meet. So it's been a fulfilling journey. I would encourage anyone to do it. It has its challenges. But
it's worth it.
It is definitely worth it.
Okay. And how do you ensure that your leadership has a lasting impact on the pharmaceutical industry?
That's a tough question, but I will attempt to answer it. Mainly because I've been in this position for just 6 months. We have a 2-year
mandate.
Yes, mandate. And 6 months down the line, of course, I'm thinking about legacy. What is the legacy I'm going to leave? When I leave this position, I think that there's that book by James Clear, Atomic Habits. I really love it. I love referring to it. And it says, I think he talked about how small improvements lead to big results, rather than big improvements that are not consistent. So small consistent improvements. That's my strategy right now. Looking at where we are, what are the challenges, what are some of the things we can do better, and having those small improvements. That's all. That's the legacy I want to leave. People to be able to say, before this executive got in, this was the situation. By the time they were leaving, this was the situation. And seeing that growth is very important. And I really hope that the next 1 year, 6 months, we will continue to just grow and make the society better.
I believe you will. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the society looks like when you're done with your mission. And also, I'd like to find out, what skills or qualities do you think are important for someone who is aspiring for a leadership role in the pharmacy field?
Again, I will talk about emotional intelligence. Very important.
Can't be overemphasized.
Very important. But also just the ability to mentor, to inspire, to lead. Because leadership is really very little about you, but more about the flock that you are leading. You need to be open-minded. You can't have enemies. This is an entire society. Even if somebody doesn't like you, work with that person. Show them the way. Even if somebody doesn't believe in you, show them that if they come along and work with you, you will achieve even the things that they are complaining about or that they are unhappy about. You will move from one point to the other. And also being solution oriented. Delia, I'll tell you, there are so many people that will identify a problem. This is another thing I learned early on in my career. I would get into a meeting and they would be like, maybe if it's a meeting, okay, let me just use percentages. I'd say 60% of the people in that meeting will identify the problems in the department. Oh, there's this, and I also noticed this. But there would be about 20%, 20 to 30% who would come up with solutions. Now, those are people that are in the same environment. They're not coming from another place or anything. You are actually facing the same problems, the same situation. But one perspective is, I'm going to identify all the problems and lay it out for you people to sort it out. The other perspective is, I'm going to propose solutions. So be solution oriented. Because trust me, the people that are proposing solutions get paid a lot more money. Than those that are proposing problems. They get paid a lot more money. But yet you all go for work, same place, same environment, you breathe the same air, you drink the same water. But it's about perspective. I
Perspective.
chose from early on in my career, I told myself, I'm going to be on the solution team.
Okay.
Whatever the case, I'm going to be on the solution team because I want to bring change.
Yeah.
I want to participate in the change that we want. And I am not going to end at identifying problems. That is not me.
Yeah.
I chose that from a very young career age.
Yeah.
So even as a leader, you must be solution oriented.
Yeah.
You cannot, there's no luxury in leadership. You can't
Yes.
just say, oh, there's this problem. Today, this place wasn't swept. Can you propose solutions? So be
Yeah.
solution oriented.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. And I think for those people who would like to take up a leadership role, those are the skills and qualities that you should aim or work at having. And you earlier mentioned how you thrive or enjoy being productive. So, how do you stay motivated and how do you also maintain a work-life balance having such a drive towards productivity?
I'll be honest and say that my work-life balance hasn't been very healthy.
Yeah.
But I try by all means to pay attention to my hobbies.
Okay.
There's a friend who recently shared a reel, these reels we share on Instagram. And
Yeah.
the lady in that reel was saying, be as ambitious about, your goals and stuff, about rest as
Yeah.
well. Be ambitious about resting.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I was not being ambitious about resting. I would rarely take leave from work.
Yeah.
I would rarely sit down and just rest and feel like I deserve to rest.
Yeah.
So I take advantage of my hobbies. I love hiking, I love running, I
Yeah.
love being outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I feel most recharged.
Okay.
Yes. So in as much as I love being productive, again, of course, the battery does get
Get
low
drained. Yeah.
and drained. Yeah. So I think the outdoors for me recharge me a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
just new experiences, meeting new people, networking, and learning new things.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's how have tried to have a work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Not perfect. I'm
Yeah.
working at it. I am working at it, but for now, and just delegation is also something I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning.
Yeah.
It's something I've struggled with, just trusting another person with a task that I think I would do very well at.
Yeah.
I love to pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
And one thing I dislike is, when I give somebody a task and you can tell that they didn't pay attention to
the
the
detail.
details that
Yeah.
I wanted.
Yeah.
I also recently got a personal assistant
Oh, nice.
who has really changed my life.
Oh, wow.
Just being able to say, work on this,
Yeah.
hand it in by this time, has really given me a chance to do other things. So it's really
Yeah.
about delegation, learning how to delegate,
Yeah.
learning how to pursue your rest,
Mm-hmm.
being ambitious about resting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in as much as I am a productivity junkie,
Yeah.
knowing that that is not the most healthy way to look at things all the time.
Okay. All right. That's nice. And I think as we conclude, I am curious to know what your vision is for the future of the pharmacy industry in Zambia, and what role do you see women playing in shaping the future of the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia?
Okay, so my personal vision for our society is to work on our systems.
Mm-hmm.
I think that for any organization, no matter how many goals you are achieving, if your base is weak, it's like
Mm-hmm.
a house.
Yeah.
The foundation has to be strong.
Yeah.
So, mentorship of our members is something that I'm advocating for. Institutional capacity building, the institution itself, the secretariat, how
Yeah.
are we functioning at that level?
Yeah.
How our branches, I talked about branches being in every province,
Yeah.
are they strengthened?
Yeah.
So it's about baseline
Mm-hmm.
strengthening. systems strengthening. I
Mm-hmm.
want our systems to be so strong such that even when we face something that we didn't anticipate,
Yeah.
we have a contingency plan, we have a risk mitigation plan, everything in place to be able to face whatever storm comes our way.
Okay.
Yeah. How do I see women being a part of that? First of all, I'm calling on the women. I've heard so many reasons why women don't take up leadership roles.
Yeah.
Oh, it's, politics is quite dirty.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the easiest space to function in.
Yeah.
But if you just get over that initial step and
Yeah.
say, fine, yes, it's dirty, but do I have the chance to be in the room
Yeah.
where men are making decisions that affect me, a woman?
Yes.
Huh? You can't, again, there's no luxury in this
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
So I would love the women to get up out
Mm-hmm.
of their comfort zones and really pursue
Mm-hmm.
leadership, pursue some of these spaces that are uncomfortable, because they
Mm-hmm.
have rewards. They are things that you can achieve if you get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I think in the strategic plan we have an aim that looks at, involvement of women, youths, and other vulnerable groups in our society activities. And I'm looking forward to us implementing policies that have been developed by us to ensure women are incorporated.
Yeah.
I think we need to have certain discussions. We need to see things from certain perspectives.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have so much faith in our women. I think that they can achieve a lot. Women are leaders in the homes.
Yes.
They are good managers. They are, I think, even emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
They have the skills.
Yeah.
It's about the step to say, fine, I've seen this problem, I've seen this challenge.
Yeah.
I am going to get up
Yeah.
and do something about it, or at least support the team that
Mm-hmm.
is doing something about this issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very nice conclusion to the topic on leadership, especially in the pharmaceuticals industry. Anita, I have really enjoyed this episode. I have learned so much, and I hope our audience is going to be inspired, especially to take up roles in leadership. If you have been watching this episode and you feel inspired, please share in the comments what really stood out for you. What was your key takeaway, especially about leadership? And remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.